Welcome to
All
this
right,
episode of
season
Blood Talk
finale.
Podcast. Uh, Today's topic is dismantling, or alternatively saying tackling white supremacy. Um, when I told Kenny the topic, right, he sighed heavily, and then I asked him what's wrong, and he said he'll get it off his chest during the podcast. Air out your concerns, Kenny.
What? That I'm tired of hearing about this damn topic.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Oh, well, damn. All right, moving on. End the podcast, everybody. Let's wrap it. Thank you for tuning
All
in.
right, go home, everyone. We're done.
So, uh, in the video that in the messenger, in the group messenger that me, Alex, and Kenny's in with James and Julius. James, I believe, had sent a video about how Morgan Freeman was saying you eliminate racism by not talking about it. Alex, you said pretty close, similar stuff. Well, everybody more or less said something similar to how when he don't want Black History Month. Wait, what was the reason again? He said because it's like American
Black
history.
History Month.
It's American history.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
do you feel like there is that is the answer to getting rid of white supremacy as well, or is it just racism? Or
Yeah, I've always been saying for the past, I don't know how many podcasts, it just needs to be American history. And all of it's American history. So I think it's silly that we have something special for like just Black history when it's all American history. Obviously, if you want to teach different cultures, like if you have something specific for like the curriculum of Africa, sure, you could call it that. But it still probably just be called African history, not just Black history. Because the same point he was making is like there's not a White History Month, like
or Jewish history
and
month.
we're not saying like that we need to create one either, but it's American history. It is literally history. So I just think that entire premise is silly.
I was having a conversation with my coworker, two white guys, older white guys, both military and everything like that, and they're talking about the what was that statue that got taken out in Richmond or something like that.
Rosestone, all of them.
Yeah, Rosestone, all the Civil War statues and stuff, and and they were like, if I was them taking them down, I mean, they shouldn't be there in front of civilians anyway. It was like put them on the battlefield where they're supposed to be. Like put all the statues in the battlefield on military bases. That's where they're supposed to be at.
Is that because they took them down here in New Orleans as well. We had one. I think it was Robert E. Lee. They just took it down. Wasn't much announcement or fanfare, or well, not that it would be fanfare, but you know what I'm saying. It wasn't much of a hoopla that I know of about it. So is that society today trying to get rid of the oppression of Black people to try like, hey, look, we know we messed up.
It's basically the same thing Germany did, but Germany did theirs a little bit better, and honestly their community is probably better. But so when I was talking to the guys about that, they were like, yeah, those things just do not need to be like those statues and XYZ do just not need to be in front of civilian eyes. That's it. Like it just needs to be on a military base, where it's like on a battlefield area, because they have them like on every single military base, and just put them there. And it's just civilians just need to be separated from the military.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like there's more of a societal thing. Like, okay, we understand that Black people are upset that these people were fighting for the Confederates, so it's more like to appease more than correct. I think when you said the Germans, they acknowledged that, like, they're like, hey, look, we fucked up.
Yeah, and they took their stuff down. But the thing is, like I said, their community is just better than ours. So,
what do you mean by their community is better than ours? Like how?
How does getting everything done wise? That's what I meant. Like getting like voting for certain things and organization and talking about things and everything like that. They're very like open to talk about a lot of things over there in Germany. But we have our people here that are like that do the same thing, but it's just a lot of rage and outcry most of the time.
You talking about here or over there?
Here.
Oh,
But
I
it's
mean,
raging outcry in Germany also, but it's just in a different spectrum.
yeah,
But
it seemed like they did it like we understand this represents, or depending on who you talk to. Some white people call it Southern heritage. Some people call it Southern pride, or whatever the case may be. But it seemed like they just did it just to shut people up because they didn't want it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could
they
be.
just wanted to, yeah, basically just wanted to get it out the way. And I was like, I can understand both sides like on it, and I understand just like, yo, hi, can we just get this song out of the way so people can like move forward and everything like that. So I understand that fact, but I understand everybody's outraged about it. But the thing is like, to some point, I didn't live in that time period. So I mean, I just be like, I'm happy where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's not something you can relate to.
Yeah, it's not something I can relate to. It's like, I watched the thing about like when Candace Owens, when she was talking about like Jim Crow and everything like that. All y'all didn't live in that time period. Time period. Your grandparents probably did, but y'all didn't live in that time period. And she was like, you gotta, think about your future now instead of living like in the past.
I think as
Yeah.
far as that's concerned, I think being that even though we may have had parents or grandparents during that time, that kind of well, it depends on I guess the person that's being raised, but it kind of trickles down their perception of societal standards or their perceived ideals of how you're supposed to be as a black man or a woman. It kind of comes down how you're being raised or not. It just depends on you. But huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's kind of easier said than done. I mean, it can be done, but you got to. It's the power of choice that Alex always talks about.
You gotta choose.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's also just like, so I have this conversation with people about a lot of shit where it's like they go into like the historical oppression thing, and it's like, yes, these things happen, but it's like, if that's what you're the most pissed about and like need to be appeased, like if that's what causes you the most outrage, and it's the main thing that you want to talk about, is the main thing that people have to appease, it's like you're getting like crumbs to make up for the fact that like ancient history makes you mad, but like you're not doing anything to fix the future. You're not doing anything to even fix the present. And like I think like that's kind of where like that statue thing becomes like a lot of these end up being like really ridiculous situations where it's like there's better things that you can do that will help today. And like instead they go for like the low hanging fruit. Because like at the end of the day, like taking down those statues, like it's not gonna change that much, and it's definitely not the most major change that you could make as far as like the battle against racism, for example, or just improving the quality of lives of African descent.
so do you like when you put it like that? It is kind of like a almost like they try to put a band-aid over it. Like, okay, we can't because
Yeah,
I don't think it's an issue you can really
No,
solve because it's like it's
we
just
know for
people
band
being
aids.
people. What you say, Kenny?
We're known for band aids
Yeah, it's
here.
just like, hey, okay, we're gonna take, yeah, yeah. So it's like we can't we can't stop people from being racist, but what we can do is take down these statues. So
Yeah.
at least it looks
yeah,
like we're trying to tackle the problem. Um, but
yeah,
it's
and people celebrate it too. I mean, like one of the things that's really sad when you see shit like that, it's like how happy people get. They're like they think like they won something, and it's just like it's like you know what it is. Like sometimes it feels like a child throwing a tantrum, and then like they get something to just feel like it's like a random small thing, and then like they're super proud of themselves. But it's like, no, dude, like that's not progress, or like it's not like enough. It's not like a significant
that's a
achievement.
I
You
like that
know,
analogy too, like the kid thing. Cause like I know we discussed several times during several episodes of the podcast that people always cry the most about stuff, right?
They
And
cry a
yeah,
lot.
so it's like okay, we cry about one thing, and people are like, oh, black people are upset. Let's try to fix this, right? And it gets like fixed, heavy air quotes. Um, then it's like, oh, we won that one. Let's try. What else can we like I'm saying like start up that we can get
Mermaid.
fixed, huh?
You say mermaid?
Mermaid.
Yeah. Oh.
The Little
Yeah.
Mermaid.
So it's like the more we discuss this, the more we talk. It's like, yeah, there's nothing you can do to, because you can't stop people from being people. You can't
I mean,
stop.
there's definitely things you can do. It's just we're not doing any of them, or like a lot of them. I mean, like, so let's take the mermaid thing, right? So like representation, it's like that's like the big hill people want to die on right now, and it's just like, yeah, it has its benefits. I'm like, that's like your number one concern. Like that's the thing that like you want everyone to know, you want everyone to be talking about. Like that's the trending topic. It's like to some extent, like there's a level of just like I don't know if malpractice is the right word here. Like there's just a lack of like I can put this. If this were like a homework assignment, like it would be like the homework assignment that like got turned in at like the last minute, full of mistakes, no structure. It's just like you're trying to make change, but like they're so they're like not conscientious enough about their effort. It's like it's kind of just like they're just throwing shit against the wall, hoping it sticks. They're not really thinking, organizing. They're not prioritizing, just going with their feelings, which is just a terrible way to progress through life. Like you need structure, you need logic, you need a fucking plan. Like we're just screaming like children, at everything, and we're super reactive. Like that's something that like you change that alone, like just as a culture, would be so much better off. Not just being black, just like anyone, fucking everybody would benefit from that.
So we need to stop being so emotional and think logically about these issues.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's easy to say.
and
So people, there are a lot of
Good
people
luck.
who are not emotionally aware of themselves. So
then
it's like
work on
that's a
it.
whole separate
There's a lot
issue
of
Yeah,
that
but
people
the
that
like
can't
work
get
on
individual
that
needs
it.
to
read,
work
bro.
out.
Like this is one of those things where it's just like, hey, like you have something that you're not super good at. You know what's gonna fix that? Working on it. Like there's something about that argument that like is starting to irritate me more and more. Like this whole like, well, I can't do it. Okay, practice. Like it's
But I
starting to get
can't.
really frustrating. But like that's people's like turn to, and it's like, well, I'm not good at this, so I'm just gonna stay fucking terrible at it and just like suffer the consequences of it and just not be bothered because like, well, I'm not good at this. It's like there's a point where it's like, okay, hey, like you're a human being, you have a brain, you have the ability to learn, and it's like, okay, maybe like people aren't emotionally ready to like, navigate and like organize themselves through this. It's like, okay, well then maybe like take a step back, and like start working on your emotional maturity, start working on your ability to think clearly before you take action and like ruin your efforts.
That don't make too
Like
much
some
sense though. Like,
So you'd be quite surprised. Yeah, that does make too much sense, right? You'd be quite surprised. Like I had this conversation with Alex earlier. People and their learning capabilities. This man Alex put his damn numbers on his door for Amazon to drop off packages. They still drop the package next door.
yeah.
And I was like, how, dog? He was like, yo, people can't read.
reading is
And I'm
not
just,
fundamental after
and
all,
I'm just
guys.
like, that's why I was saying, I was like, yo, people just have trouble with reading. You think they have time to figure out their emotional abilities?
No,
And it's not
Amazon
even
drivers, they're
reading
known
letters,
for
it's
just
numbers.
no, Amazon drivers, they're known for not giving a shit. Like dude, when I get shit delivered here, I have adventures, man. Like I live in an
Makes
apartment
no
complex, right?
sense.
And sometimes like I'll get the thing where, like it's been delivered, and it'll be like it's been delivered to the mail room, and I'll get like a random picture of my package in a room I've never seen in my life.
No, so
Like, what the
that's the
fuck?
funny thing is about like here, kind of the culture here is that there's select people, few people that are just proud of their job, and there's just people that just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's just
So,
like
but
people have no problem doing a bad job at things, and it doesn't even fucking matter what it is. Like people are proud to like not apply shit correctly. Like people are very proud of this in this country, which is really disheartening.
but back to the
So,
this white supremacy thing that you brought up.
so
And the reason why I'm tired of this topic, to be honest, is because when I go to YouTube, you know how you click those little quick shorts or something like that.
Alex is joked out, so this must be funny. I got it.
About like I click that quick shorts, I'll run about like 5 or 6 of those things, and it's like that one video. This white guy was talking, and this woman was talking about this black woman was talking about his white privilege, and he was like, "What is white privilege?" And she was like, "It's white privilege that you have the option to sit up here and say this and blah blah blah." And he just looked at her dead in the face. It's like, okay, well, you're able to do the same thing. Like, well, like, come on now. She was allowed to say that without having any repercussions or anything. But he has repercussions if he says one word.
What's the word, Kenny?
You know it. so it's just like, it's just interesting how the whole factor of racism and everything, how it is in the States and everything, it's really funny. I just be like, listen, everybody be like, white people are racist. I be like, yo, like, you're racist for just saying that, to be honest.
Go ahead, keep talking.
So it's just like, everybody is, racist in their own ways, sex, form, XYZ. We already said this one time in one of our podcasts when somebody, doesn't cook something right or something like that. It's like, oh, it must be a white person that made that. And this is like, that's racist.
Oh, when it's unseasoned?
Yeah, when it's unseasoned, like, that's racist. That's straight up racist. And then, like, people like, yeah, black people like fried chicken. White people be like, oh, because I'm black, I like fried. I'm like, because they white, they can't season their food? Like, what? So that's why I was just like, the whole thing, the whole white supremacy thing and everything like that has gotten so shrewd up and like turned around on his head and everything like that it's gotten to the point that white people can't even talk about what they're curious about or anything like that. They just sit there quiet.
Well, I guess yeah.
What you got to say?
No, I'm trying to find a way to articulate. So, yeah, I mean, okay. Let me start with this. You're right, as far as that's concerned. But as far as white people displaying their, I guess, white pride, I guess it's where
we display our black pride all the damn time.
So is that black supremacy?
No, it's
exactly right. So that's the issue. So now the issue is what differentiates white pride and white wolf.
All right, bro. So why do we have the option? I'm gonna give you something. Why do we have the option to tell somebody that they can't dread their hair or braid their hair or something like that? Right? God. That's a cultural thing, right?
Yeah.
Bitch, no. Like, America is all of a mixed pot of culture, yo. Like, if you go to the Dominican Republic or anything like that, you're gonna see a whole bunch of Latinos and Dominicans with braids and stuff like that. That's just a cultural thing.
So the idea, is that
let me finish. But the thing is, it's like, oh, this is just black. It's like, is that considered black supremacy? Because we can just be like, yeah, we could just hold one type of hairstyle, even though it's like a cultural thing. It's like we can hold one hairstyle hostage and be like, yeah, nobody else can do this shit because we black. Nobody else can run this business because they white. We white. Bitch, stop. The reason why is as AKA white supremacy, because back in the days, white people did a lot of things to push themselves ahead. But now we are actually doing a lot of things ourselves to push ourselves ahead. We open the black business. We doing all these other things. We're trying to get ourselves ahead of things. And it's like they just got a head start because of that time period.
Okay, so let's go back to the hair thing. Let's go back to that. So this is gonna sound dumb. It's gonna sound completely illogical, but just roll with me. So you say you go to Dominican Republic and you see the Latin people with dreads or cornrows or whatever, right? People don't see them, and this is the kind of the ignorance behind it. So it's like people don't see them as Latino. They see brown skin, so they automatically associate that with black. That's why there's no outcry about it, right? No, listen, hold on.
I'm gonna hit back on that.
I saw a video of it was a Dominican man and a black girl. The black girl is telling this man that he's black, and he's like, "No, I'm Dominican." And it goes back to what Jock was saying in another episode that outside of the United States, there's no like I'm paraphrasing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no such thing, not no such thing as racism, but they don't see black, white.
Yeah, they don't. They name my nationality. Like when I was in Kuwait, I instantly found out I was Nigerian before I even found out I was Nigerian. Like they was like, yeah,
I see the Nigerian. Yeah, I see it.
I'm black. They be like, no, you're Nigerian. I'll be like, bet I'm Nigerian. Got it. So
wait, you just accepted it? You was like, all right,
no,
cool.
there's a test. Found out from some family.
Oh yeah, okay, right.
Yeah,
right,
we
right,
Nigerian. Like a huge portion, like about 60 fucking percent Nigerian. I was just like,
that's a lot of percent. That's a lot of percent, dog. Yeah, you're definitely Nigerian. Wow,
like damn. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's just weird here how it is. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, John.
To go back with that hair thing, Dante, like the reason why it's a thing here and not a thing overseas, like in the Dominican Republic, for example, it's not because like they don't see themselves as black. It's because like only in America are we trying to make things so. There's something actually inherently racist about making dreadlocks the black hairstyle, right? Like they're like so. First of all, there's a whole shit ton of inaccuracies there. Dreadlocks is just the natural state of hair. So like every human gets dreadlocks if you just leave their hair. So point one. And then the second point is just like, it borders on shit like, if seasoning food was only a black person thing, or if like, liking certain kinds of food was only a black person thing. One of the things that I think happens with the dreadlocks specifically is that like it's a low hanging fruit. It's visual, right? So like for example, let's say like people tried to make like certain spices black, and it was like cultural appropriation for a white person to use them. Well, guess what? You can't go into their homes. You can't catch them. Dreads, it's literally on a motherfucker's head. Like it's low hanging fruit, and all the time, like you'll see this time and time again. It's low hanging fruit. It's children having a tantrum, and it's not helping any of us.
Yeah,
it's so.
Back to the food thing, what you were saying. Funny thing is that I would probably say, I might be wrong about this, but probably a good amount of black people don't fucking know how to cook, which is funny as shit. You gonna say someone don't know how to season food when you don't even know how to cook? Please stop.
I feel like when you said that, I feel like you have someone in your mind in particular.
There's a lot of people.
You said that with so much like passion. Oh, okay, wait.
There's a lot of people that I have, and the thing is that black people only know how to cook one fucking thing. You just, AKA soul food or something like that.
I don't know how to do that personally. Well, I'm not.
Yeah, I know, but it's just that's the most common thing that we're known for cooking. Something that fucking kills us.
Something that's they said that's the soul food was the leftovers of what the slave masters had.
Yeah, slave masters.
And we took that and we cooked it up and called it soul. And it's really the worst parts of the animals that we should not even be eating in the first place. Knowledge.
So and you want to know what's funny? We're still doing that shit, except on just like a cultural level and like a behavioral level. It's like we're fucking taking scraps, and then we're just like, well, this is ours. Like people just taking pride in just like scraps.
You look at like who are the most obese people in America?
Yeah, diabetes. Like, so this gonna sound dumb too. But I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it.
Who's the most obese people in America?
Why are you asking me? You the one that brought the
I think it is mostly black though. It's mostly obese. Yeah. So I was just saying, because I just want to make sure because this man know all the facts. So
I was just chilling, listening. This is nice for me.
But so it's just like black people are the most obese people, and I'm like, bro, listen, we killing ourselves.
Not the white people. Not the white people. Not white supremacy not killing us.
And the funny thing is, it's not even white people. White people just sitting there looking. They just like
it's not the white pride that's killing us. It's the black pride that's killing us.
It's just like Vegeta, main example. Man got a blast in his chest. Was like, I'm strong enough to kill be freezing now. Got washed. absolutely not.
That's saying pride. That's saying pride, but that's not. That's saying pride got him killed.
Multiple times.
See, I like this. That's why I like having these conversations, right? Because we can find something and bring it all the way back around full circle. Pride gets you killed. That's the moral of this podcast. It started off as white supremacy, but now it's talking about how pride can get you killed.
No, it's because I talk to a lot of white people, like older white guys, like the older guys, because that's all I work with in the military area, older white guys. I talk to a lot of them, and they're just like, they're wondering, like, okay, like most of these things aren't going to fix a lot of things. Like, I sit there and talk to one dude. He talked to me like he was just a regular, like, and that's the funny thing. Like, he'll talk to me like I'm just a regular person. Like, I asked him, how's this cruise? And he went for a whole 20 minutes talking about the cruise, telling me what cruise to go on, what to do, this, that. That's a white dude. And he's like, he didn't have any evil moral or anything like that. He's trying to help me out. Like, hey, do this cruise. We talking about Spirit Airlines. He was like, and the thing is about Spirit Airlines, he was like, yo, I don't even blame the people that often. He was like, it's just how the company is. Like, they're just a bad company. It's not even mostly employees. Employees just get, they usually just short stick of some things. So they're upset. And if they're upset, you're going to get bad service. So I was just like, he right. So, that's a funny thing. Like, when I talk to most of these people, they just want to talk about other stuff other than like what the hell is going on in the world right now, because it's just they seen it and they're just like, it's crap,
Yeah, so it's like so essentially is what it's not a lot of stuff that we would call. I'm trying to say how to word it right. White supremacy is it not really white supremacy? It's just us trying to find something to complain about.
It could be a mixture of both, but I'm not sure. But I take it as the victim mentality. Like, I'm actually doing pretty well in my career, and there's not no white supremacy holding me back or anything like that. So it's just like I'm like kind of like I'm as I'm going further in my career, I'm like, is it this, or are we just doing a lot of victimizing things? And a lot of people just like being the victim because they get sometimes they get handouts. And it's like, that's cool, but that's not how it works. It's just like the thing when Joe Biden took away the unemployment thing, and this woman went on the news and she was just like, oh, he took away the unemployment. I don't know what I'm gonna do, blah blah blah. And I was just sitting there talking to my coworker. I was like,
just get a job.
No, it's not even that. I'm like, you're talking about out of all that time, because she had kids. I'm like, you're talking about out of all that time, out of all that money you was getting, you didn't think about furthering something, getting something, doing anything. Because that shit was going on. I don't know how long it was going. Was it like 2 years or was it a year? I'm not exactly sure.
It was a long ass time. It was well over a year.
Yeah, so they had all that time and you didn't do anything in that time period just to try to improve yourself, to get a little bit better. I'm not saying going to school. I'm just get a certification, study or something, doing something. But she didn't do that. She just sat there with the money, chilled, and then complained about it when they took away the investment. It's just like it's a victim mentality. It's just like, I was getting this, they took it away, now I'm losing. I'm just like, you could have been winning if you would have done something.
I think like people, so in 2022, I don't see much things that dictates white supremacy no more, because it seems like other races or other cultures are more vocal about their issues or what they have or what's going on in society. So it's like if white supremacy was up here, it seems like now it's more like balancing out to where we just discussed black supremacy, if that's really a thing. I mean, it can be, but it's kind of like if it's balancing out. So I particularly don't see it as much or don't see many examples, but then again, I don't pay attention to the news like that. I'm kind of retreated into my own little corner of my living room. and I don't really pay attention to the world. Like, I get bullshit coming to my phone, like, about like Kanye shit, and you know what I'm saying, white lives matter and all that stuff. We're not gonna get into that. But matter of fact, quick tangent. I don't know the full story, but he was saying something about how Jewish people are in control of everything. Right?
They're really good with money.
Right. So that's not even a stereotype. That's a fact.
They are really
so
fucking good with money.
So to springboard off of the Kanye thing, so is that? But that's not even white supremacy, because white supremacists don't even like Jewish people.
Because they're good with money.
Nope, they don't.
So yeah, so go back to my original point. It's like there's so many things that's like I don't know where you can get support. Why we can see it unless you're like deep South Alabama or something, and you see some Confederate flag somewhere, and then they're like, "Oh, I don't want no blackie on my
no
yard."
words.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just like, okay, there was a video I watched where this dude went to this really highly racist black dude went to a highly racist town or something. It was a video I watched. And the funny thing is like when he went there, everybody was like, yeah, you shouldn't, go there. It's not good. So he talked to one of the people that, didn't like black people that much. And he was just like, the guy was sitting there, he was just like, yeah, you shouldn't be here. But like he had a full conversation with him. He was like just talking about certain things. He was like, it's just this community, how this community is. But yeah, he was like, yeah, you shouldn't be here very long, and like just talking to him about it and everything. And I was just like, okay, at least he had a conversation. He didn't get shot. Like,
yeah. So I mean, it's like
that.
they're so the races are very understanding at this point.
It's just the fact that like, so the thing, what I've realized about when I watched that video, there is a community. It's like say a town, just people just racist. It's not like, and it's just they just don't want you there, and that's
and they just don't go there. Like
that's basically it. They don't want you there. And people are like, why can't we just go there? I was like, why the fuck do you want to go there?
Because they want to. So.
It's like, you know what? Go to 7th Street, bro. Go to 7th Street. They want you there too.
They want so black people. I'm gonna piece together as I talk. So I think black people want to be included in everything that white people do.
No.
I could be wrong. I could be way out of pocket.
You're right. But no. You do not want to be included in everything.
An example, and hopefully it'll help understand how ridiculous this is. Okay, let's say you see a chick, and she's racist, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't fuck black guys."
What, right? Alex?
Exactly, because he knows where this is going. I've used this example before.
Give me that.
It's like, so okay, so it's like, what are you gonna do here? Like you still want to fuck her? Why?
Wait. Okay. So wait. Let me try to see if I can understand your. So, we're black, right? We see a white girl, and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Oh,
I don't fuck.
I'm racist,
right? Exactly.
Don't talk to me. But you're like, so?
Exactly. Just like, dude, why are you still interested? Like, why are you still interested? How is that like not enough of a turn off for you to be like? How did your dick not just shrivel up and you just go like, "Nah, I'm done." Like, why are you still interested?
It's just like Young Justice.
What about
when Nightwing joined that squad that you were talking about, the bodyguard squad, and then they tore the roof, and Nightwing was like, "Bro, you don't want to be here right now." And you know what? If I was a guy, I'm like, "You're right," I would jump right off. But I bet you those villains still decided to do what they needed to do.
Yeah, and it still goes back to like victimhood too. Like if I roll into a town with one stoplight, and then it's like that Kermit thing, like, "Hey, go back to where you came." You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody told me that, like if I go into town, they be like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Yo, I just want to go to Walmart real quick. I'm just stopping through." They're like, "No, you need to turn around and go back." I'm like, "All right, bet, say less. Where's the other Walmart?" You know what I'm saying? Like all right, I'm not gonna like fight against you. And I think that's the problem with black people. We're strong black people. We need to fight our way.
No, you don't need to fight your way through
fight
shit.
And find our way through everything.
It's like you don't need to be fighting your way through anything. Like, you don't see no white person, and you see an all black club. You don't see no white person trying to get into that damn club. He probably like, you know what? I don't need to be here. And then he goes to another club.
Actually, no. I've seen.
Yeah, some people.
He didn't fight his way through. He just got in line and then he just got in. But
he just got in line. He did what he regularly do. But for us, you know, that situation back in our club days with Alex, dude said that Alex couldn't get in that club with them shoes. And then he saw the dude with the same shoes walk in. Alex was like, wait.
Were you being oppressed, Alex?
That Asian racist bouncer didn't want me in.
The Asian racist. That's fine. Well, I know it is the thing, but I've never heard of an Asian being racist.
Against black people?
Yes. Against black people especially, yeah. That's the thing. They're probably, and I think some of them are more openly racist than black people.
Yes.
I didn't know white people, sorry.
Yeah, I knew what you meant with that.
Mad racist.
Yeah,
I remember I used to date an Asian girl, and she was like, my parents can never find out. Like, it was just like, she'll be disowned. And like that, and they probably would have disowned her.
Nah, it's the same thing in Kuwait. One of the girls, my boy Evan's wife, she got married to a Kuwaiti American. I'm not American, not Kuwaiti American. And her family just disowned her. She was like, we don't want you to get married to an American. And I was like,
yeah,
understandable.
Is that Kuwaiti supremacy?
Shut up.
It's just racism. It's just good old fashioned middle of the road racism, Dante. Good old fashioned racism, you know?
So
racism, put a stick of butter on it, you know.
But now, so white supremacy is now contained in certain communities, and if we just don't go there,
we'll have a problem. We'll have zero problems. It's just like when people try to go to these damn tribes and try to talk to them, and it's like, bruh, you about to get this spear in your chest.
Maybe they're just trying to learn the culture. But we can't go in a racist community and be like, oh, I'm just trying to learn the culture, and like, no, that's not gonna work.
Nah, bro.
And he literally just told you a story of a guy who did that. But the thing is that, like, why would you? Again, right? It's the racist chick thing. Why do you want to go there? Why do you want to be there?
And why? That's like that Vegeta thing, that Saiyan pride. Why did he let Cell get his perfect form?
Yeah,
his Saiyan pride got him killed. Like I said,
and he got washed again, laying on the ground, planking.
But yeah, so I mean, it's essentially white supremacy does exist. It doesn't exist in the way that it used to.
Supremacy exists everywhere.
Yeah, there's no way you can stop it. It's going to happen because I think when you get a group of people who believe the same thing, they come together and create a community, and there's no way you can dismantle that. Because then you're being the people that you're complaining about. You coming in trying to dismantle a community. Like, if people want to be racist, let them be racist over there.
Yeah. You know, especially if they're open about it and they're public about it. Like, that's just going to isolate them from the rest of society. Like, people won't want to affiliate with them. It's like, it's a problem that solves itself if, like, you really just kind of, like... People will fucking turn on themselves, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think the issue is more when they're the people you don't know about. The people that are closet racist or closet white supremacists.
Oh, that's probably most of them. Most of them are people who would never say anything. You know, most of them, it's people who, like, they just hold that shit in their hearts, you know, and they don't tell you, and, you know, they just, like, underhandedly do shit. That's probably what most of them are, but, I mean, what you gonna do, read people's minds?
No, I mean, yeah, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. But it turns out that there's us as black people, we inadvertently, I don't want to say have become the people that we disliked as far as like pride and supremacy, you know what I'm saying? But it just don't get the same outcry. We cry about white pride, which is a legit thing to be concerned about, right? But then at the same time, we do stuff as like that considered black pride or black power, and I don't know any other people who like, oh, well, that's I mean, because technically
we the only ones that be shouting that shit sometimes. Eric, you don't be like Hispanic pride, Filipino pride.
Well, there is though, right? So
yeah, there is, but we the only ones that shout it.
right, so like I said, not to drag this episode out in
And
particular,
make t-shirts.
but yeah. So, but it's like there's a difference. There's a difference with white supremacy, white pride versus black and or Hispanic or Filipino, and the other ones. I think the difference is the people in general
you
feel
want to
like
know what?
other people feel like we're not saying it in a superior way. We're not saying it to say that we are superior to the others. And I think that's where the general public consciousness or thought process is about pride.
There's also just like the application, right? So like Hispanic pride, for example, everyone knows it's a thing. Like everyone, you've never met a Dominican that was not super proud of being Dominican. You've never met a Mexican that wasn't super proud of being Mexican, so on and so forth, right? The thing is that like the way that they show their first of all, it's national pride, not a racial pride. Big difference. But one of the things that about them is that like they show it in a way that they don't need to say it. It's like yeah, they got flags, they throw parties, they tell their children about their history, they like, keep community, they're tight with their families, they like, they do all the traditional food, they cook, right? Like they do all these things so that like they don't need to go out in the street and be like, well, I'm proud of this. Like it's the whole like yelling out pride thing is just overcompensating. That's all it is because like damn well that like there's no culture that you're holding, there's no benefit, there's nothing you do in like your daily life that like is making things better. So you got to overcompensate by being just like, well, I have pride, and that's it.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's probably the best thing that was said in this podcast episode when you said it's a national pride, not a race pride.
Yep.
And that distinct us, black people and white people from, like Kenny said, Filipino, Hispanic. That so it's like a black. This is goes right back to black versus white, and like Kenny said, it's exhausting as fuck, dog. Like
I'm tired.
It is.
Like,
you
see Alex's face. He like,
yeah, he like,
I'm done.
Alex is slumped.
It's got to the point where I see people doing certain things. I just don't give a fuck. Like, to be honest, like we was talking about this in the car ride back. My tolerance is 0 to none.
But you didn't even have that much tolerance to begin with, did you?
No, I had tolerance.
Really
I had it, but it got worse when I came back from overseas. It got
well,
worse.
that's understandable. Now, that's understandable, like, because you get digested into other cultures, so then your perspective changes. So that's completely understandable. I'm not even, well, not that I could, but, would, but I mean, I don't blame you for that. But, Alex, do you just listening, you just participating in the listening party. Do you have anything to add before we end this one?
Sure. I was taking notes, just some parts to comment on. So we're gonna kind of fly back a little bit. So the first thing when you guys were talking about when people are like comfortable like not changing or they're not aware because of pride and things of that nature. And I always tell you, Dante, eventually the conversation always goes back to religion. In this case, 7 deadly sins of pride.
Uh-oh.
But in this case, how do you take responsibility or accountability, or how do you change about something that you're completely unaware of? How would you do that if that's the only thing you've been taught or that's the only thing that you know? So that's one of the biggest issues that people face.
Like if you're ignorant to everything else?
Yeah, if you're ignorant to it. Like one of my biggest flaws for Christianity, the entire thing of like, if you don't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I was like, okay, so like what about people that are like in remote areas of the world, they've never heard of Christianity? What happens to them? Like if you're completely oblivious to this religion even exists, how could you be saved by this religion? But that works for anything. If you're completely oblivious to the process on how to get better, how would you actually figure that out? You would just do what everyone else does. A couple other things. The next thing is like, people don't take pride in the work that they do. Yeah, but why should they? Why should they when they're being paid scraps worse than any time in history for the amount of work that they do? Like, there's a reason why this entire trend of like Taipei or Taipei of just let it rot / laying down is just taking over the world. It's obviously different in every culture, but there's a reason why these things happen. there's a reason why corporate greed has taken over to this point where people don't give a fuck about the kind of work they do for other people. There's reasons why people don't take pride in the work they do now versus before. Things are a lot more corporatized and things are just a lot more automated and just technology based than before when people were more hands on and they actually knew people in their community. People at this point in time don't even have friends. How could they even take pride in themselves and they can't even have friends in their life? Like that's really difficult to do. Not saying just because you're a loner you can't take pride in work you do, but there's a level of like success that you have when you succeed with other people versus just yourself. So that's even more difficult to do now than ever before. And another thing you said, that was pretty interesting when you were talking about like Black culture in back in the slavery days where we only got certain scraps and we turned that into soul food. Well, of course you take pride because that's the only thing you have. If this is the one thing that you have, how dare you let someone else try and come in to take it? This is the only thing you have. I think that really is like one of the biggest points in the Black community of people always fighting for things because they didn't have anything. So then you finally get something and everyone else in the world is trying to do it. And you're like, no, this is mine. Go get your own. I'm not saying it's right. I don't agree with it at all, but I can understand how it got to that.
Yeah, you understand the logic behind.
Yeah. When you don't have anything and someone comes to try and take it, you fight tooth and nail, even if that thing is a piece of shit. You're like, this is my piece of shit. Go get your own piece of shit. The next thing is when you guys were talking about just like white supremacy with it. And the biggest question I always ask when people talk about white supremacy is what is considered white? What is considered Black? And until that question can actually be answered by the masses, there's no point having the conversation. We're arguing about things that everyone else is thinking of completely differently. Jewish people, some people consider them white, but they don't consider themselves white. They consider themselves Jewish. They consider themselves Irish.
We consider so. I'm glad you said that because that, like I said, that goes back into what I was saying earlier about. So, Jock, you're Haitian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you was born in Haiti?
I was born in New York, but I was raised in Haiti.
Okay, so let's say a Haitian, Dominican, or whoever, they're born and raised in their respective country, right? But they're your complexion, my complexion, whatever. They go into America, they're Black, but in their own country, they're Dominican, they're Haitian, and like you said, what Alex was saying, Jewish people will look white to somebody that's like uncultured, ignorant. Irish people, some people consider them white. Italians, just don't be dumb, don't be ignorant. Like it's just
but how could you when you're unaware of it? How could you if you grew up in an entire Black neighborhood, entire Black hood where everything is Black, and then the only time you see an Irish person is just this white dude? Like, how could you?
I was like that in regards to baseball because I used to see a lot of people. I didn't know they was Dominican. I was like I was a teenager or whatever, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Black people in baseball, right? But then I looked at their names. I'm like, wait, that's weird. Like they're like Hispanic Latin names. And I was like, wait, how are they? And so when I did the research, like I took it upon myself to look into it. Like, and I think individually that's what people need to do. But you know how that goes. So, when I looked it up, like there was one particular player, Hanley Ramirez. He looks Black. He looks completely Black. And I Googled him. Ramirez is it's not a Black name, right? He's Dominican Republic. He's from Dominican Republic. I know I have a coworker. Her last name's Rodriguez, but she's like mixed with Cuban and Black, but she looks Black. So if it weren't for the last name, you would have no idea of what she was mixed with.
Nowadays, I just ask people like straight up, like where are you from? Like that's what I ask. Like my coworker Igor, ex-coworker Igor, I wanted to go see him. I was like, hey, bro, I'm like, where you from? And he was like, he's from Benin. Which is next to Nigeria. And I was just like, all right.
Well, if a name like Igor, I would have asked where he's from too, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, but it's just like I just stopped asking, like, if they Black, where you from, bro? Like,
and you're going a politically correct route, which is good.
I'm like, where you from, bro? Like, me and Jesse went to a cook place. Dude was heavily from Scotland. And I was just like, where you from, homie? And he was like, I'm from Scotland, bro. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But
And then the last part about it is just kind of like how you get into the situation because it always spirals on to the same way, just in history. It's just tribalism. You always do things based on the tribe that you kind of grow up in. And then from there, it gets pretty crazy or hectic as far as like trying to change and then understanding and learning and growing. But you represent a smaller or a larger portion from where you grew up from. It's all just tribalism. The entire thought process, the entire speech process, the culture of it, all of it just goes back to where you grew up and what you took from your tribe.
I agree.
So
I agree with that.
you'll see tribes rise and fall throughout history, and the same you'll see it now. So the same thing you're talking about, just leave those people over there. That literally is tribalism. That entire community that's full of racists, that is a tribe of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the issues that you'll run into eventually is if said tribe of racists decide to do things against other said tribe, but other said tribe is not united, or other said tribe is not prepared, or other said tribe hasn't even gotten to the point of being a tribe. And then you just, Dante, think about civilizations, right? Whenever we play civilizations, it's literally the exact same thing, but just on a larger
I'm
scale.
almost feel triggered. Yeah, but so
Mm-hmm.
whenever civilization want to have aggressive expansion,
Yeah. So, like, hypothetically speaking, what if that was the case? Then you guys were saying, hey, just leave the racists alone over there. Okay, cool. I mean, there's no legal reason why you can't be racist. It's frowned upon in society. You can't do certain things based on the premise of race. Sure, obviously, like hiring practices, things like that. But if you abide by those rules in your personal life, you want to be a racist. There's nothing that says you can't be. That we have that freedom. But there become issues when people start to act on that racist tendency in society,
and it's played in a hateful way. That's that's where the problem starts.
Yeah, that's where the problem starts.
So that's it right there. So rather than address that portion, people have gone to the thing of don't ever be racist. To my case, I'm like, do whatever you want. I mean, if you don't want to mess with me because I'm black, that's fine. I don't really take offense to that.
Leave me alone.
That's fine.
Some people don't want to mess with you because you wear glasses or something. Like
I think it's silly. I think it's ridiculous. Sure, but if you're unwilling to talk about it, I'm not gonna just treat you that like negatively or be upset. You haven't done it. You just let me know. Hey, that's why. And if we want to have a discussion about it, we can. Some people don't. Some people don't even want to talk in general.
Yeah, they don't.
Some people just want to be left alone, whether they're racist or not. We don't say you have to talk.
Right.
So see it differently.
Like you.
Yeah, no one's gonna like you. You can't force them to like you. You can't force people to always be neutral with you if you've done nothing wrong. Some people just come off not liking you. That's just life.
Yeah, I've been
trying to fix and jump in other people's tribes for no reason.
I think that's what black people do. They want a piece of the pie. They want a piece of everything.
This is too much, bro. It's too much.
Included everywhere.
That's the point. Like I said, that's something I told Alex way back when. It's gonna get to the point. I don't know when it's gonna be, how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna get to the point where people are gonna start listening to us, and that's when it's gonna be bad.
You said when they're gonna start listening.
Stop.
They're gonna stop.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's when it's gonna get bad, because the world sees it as it is, and it's just like, what the hell? Like, we were playing City of Heroes way back when, and it was me, Alex, and another dude. I remember he had an eagle head, but we were talking about stuff that happened in the state, and the dude from Canada was like, "Bro, I'm just looking at y'all from Canada. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?"
Yeah. It's pretty interesting talking to a lot of different people. It's fun to even mention that portion there. You said, Dante, like, we want a piece of the pie of everything. Which, once again, coming all back, 7 deadly sins, gluttony. And look what culture happens to be the most gluttonous culture in regards to everything, not even just food. I'm talking about entertainment. I'm talking about sex. I'm talking about anything that we get our hands on.
Yeah, rap. Damn, I'm gonna say white music. Rap music is for black people, not white people.
Yeah, so like I said, like other people from other countries just looking at us like we're crazy most of the time. Like, it's like, what the hell's going on? Like, when I was, when the election happened and everything was going way wild and at White House, and the Indian people, whatever that was looking, they was like, "What the hell is going on?" I'm like, "Oh man!" I just turned the channel, bro. I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Listen."
There's a lot of people that are saying that was white privilege,
Mm-hmm.
but I digress.
I mean, yeah, it probably was. Yeah, it definitely was. But
yeah, that's all I have to say. That was all the notes I was taking.
All right. Well, I'm glad you chimed in though. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I tried to listen.
did I say cocaine?
Wow. So we're not gonna let Kenny distract us from the topic and then go on a tangent about cocaine like we did
No,
about
we saw
crackheads.
crackhead yesterday, though.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna do that. So this concludes this episode of this last episode of the season. So everyone take a
Don't do
break.
crack, kids.
No crackheads. So everyone take a break.
No
Y'all, Alex, go do what you do because you always find a way to find yourself being busy. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. I'm not mad at you. I'm just confused on how you do it.
Busy hands keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, I understand. We're also staying inside. So
And that too.
well, yeah, thank you for I'd like to thank Princess Nubia. She joined in from the very beginning. She's been here. She made a couple of comments. She said white people have been talking for too long and taking up space. It's our turn. I'm pretty sure that's a sarcastic comment.
That's just being sarcastic.
Yeah, in the hood, I'm black, but when I'm with my Jamaican friends, I'm Jamaican. I actually forgot that she's Jamaican. I keep forgetting.
Oh, you just thought she was black, Dante?
No, I knew she was Jamaican, but I just forget. I forgot her heritage. Then she also said Joe Biden is the same one that said you ain't black if you don't vote for me, and black people ate that up. And
yeah, that shit made me mad.
Yeah,
that shit made me so mad.
But yeah, so thank you for joining in. We'll catch you next season, whenever that will be. You'll get a notification on Twitch or whatever this podcast be on. Yeah, anyway.